lives were changed. Lives were never going to be the same for many people, including mine. Hey, it's Sebas, and we are here again now to rank KATSEYE's discography. And it is the perfect time to rank their discography because they have 14 songs. You know, KATSEYE and I, we are tied. We are best friends. We actually have a picture together, as you can see here. Oh, you can spot me. Well, let's do a little zoom. Yep, that's me right there. We are best friends, and it is without saying that I know them and I know their songs better than anyone else. Just kidding, but I had the best time at their concert. I actually still have the candies that they threw mm, because they had a piñata in their show and they threw candies at us, and I still have them and I will eat them very soon. But yeah, let's start with the ranking. So number 14 is a song that, you know, many of KATSEYE fans come from K-pop. So if you've been into K-pop, especially girl groups, you know that this kind of song has been done so many times already because the girl crush concept, this kind of sound was so overly done to the point where we are tired of it and no one is making it anymore. And that song is Flame. Yeah, there's honestly nothing really here that captures my attention. I actually like how they incorporate different languages in the song. I think they sing in Korean, in Chinese, in English, and probably more, which I think is a very cute concept, especially considering they are a global girl group. But as I said, this kind of song has been done a lot before, especially in K-pop. And if I'm honest, it has been done better. And so I don't really find a reason to stream this song. If it wasn't for the concert, we all probably would have forgotten it already. It is cute, there's some very nice melodies here, but overall, it is my least favorite song. Number 13 is a song that you need a lot of nostalgia to really be into. And when Monster High became very popular, I was actually at that age where you are like too cool for childish things. And so I never really was into Monster High. And so I have zero nostalgia for number 13, Fright Song. I do gotta say that I like it more than Flame because I think the chorus is so infectious. Like it really gets me moving. Monster High. It's really a lot of fun. I really enjoy that chorus. So it is not a complete skip for me like Flame was. So next one is a 2 for 1 because we're gonna talk about number 12 and number 11 because to me they are so similar. It doesn't help that their placings on the track list is next one before one after the other. And those two songs are number 12, which is I'm Pretty, and number 11, which is Tonight I Might. Now, there's nothing wrong with these songs. They are cute, they are fun. I really like the message of them. I think their voices sound pretty beautiful here. They actually get to sing compared to other tracks, but they are just so similar for me. They actually like mesh together. Sometimes I'm thinking about one song and end up like mashing them up or thinking about the other. But I do give the edge to Now I Might because that last chorus is so fun and energetic. I really love the EDM vibe. It reminds me a lot of Fifth Harmony's Me and My Girls. What a throwback. But it has this girly EDM energy that was popular at the time. I don't know if you've seen the video, but BFF, BFF, me and my girls. So funny. Number 10 is a song that I thought I was gonna like less. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it too much. And that song is Time Lapse. I love so much how this is like super vibey. I can picture myself listening to this in the background to relax myself at a cafe. It just has this very relaxing, beautiful, wholesome vibe to it. And I also appreciate a lot Junche's singing in Korean. There's something about singing in your first language that cannot be replicated, even if you're fluent in a different language. Because, for example, I sing a lot in English. Like everything that I've always consumed for media has always been in English since I was a little kid. And so that's why and so that's why it is very common for the things that I sing as well to be in English. But from time to time, I do sing Spanish, and there's a vulnerability that happens whenever you sing in your first language, which is so refreshing, and I love seeing that with Junche. So we have our top nine left, and I mentioned this because it is so hard. The next nine ones I love so much, and it is so hard for me to pick, and it hurts me so bad because I love these songs, and so it feels like they are too low. You know what I mean? Because it is number nine, it's almost at the bottom of the list, but I love it so much. And that song, another one from Sis debut. I have a bias towards this song because I actually got to perform it at a K-pop convention event, and so because I got to sing it, I definitely have a different kind of appreciation towards debut. But also debut is one of the reasons I got to stand KATSEYE. I remember when I first discovered KATSEYE, I really thought their songs were cute. I thought they were cute because, it was impossible to avoid touch on TikTok. And I was like, oh my god, this chorus is so addicting. It is so catchy. But yeah, I just thought it was cute. Nothing more than just cute. It definitely gave K-pop. But then on December 2024, lives were changed. Lives were never going to be the same for many people, including mine, and that was the Mama performance. The moment I saw the debut dance break, I was ready to stand. I was like, this is the most talented girl group I've ever seen. Period. I really thought there's no one in the industry right now with this level of vocals, with this level of dancing, this level of stage presence, and just charisma as a whole. And that debut performance just made me want to stand in that very moment. However, as a song itself, debut is cute. It's cute. I really think, many people say that the girls changed direction 180 when it came from Sis to Beautiful Chaos. But I think debut is kind of the exception. Like, I still see it being very in line with our concept now, and I think it really matches their vibe and energy. I will always love the confidence, the energy that they bring into this song. And also the chorus is very catchy, and I love how it is very vocal heavy. It is sad that it had to leave the ranking this early, but I do think it's kind of like I cannot justify putting it above any of the other songs. Number eight. Oof. Things get harder and harder and harder. And I really don't want to say it, but number eight is My Way. And this song feels similar to me to, I don't know if you watch K-pop Demon Hunters, you probably have. But when they are like getting interviewed about Golden and they say like, oh, this is the story of us. I think My Way is kind of their Golden because it really feels like very personal. Even if the girls weren't involved in the songwriting process, they still embody the song, embody the message of the song. And, you know, My Way, even though the girls weren't involved in the songwriting process, I still think they embody the song. And, even if you didn't participate in the songwriting, that doesn't mean you are not involved in the song process, right? Because I really think the vocal performance, the performer of the song has to really match the energy of the song for it to be successful, for it to match the vision of the songwriters. And I think the girls did an amazing job with My Way. It feels as if they made this song from scratch themselves, which just speaks so highly of their vocal performance and their ability. And it is just such a beautiful song with such a beautiful message. We get to hear them sing for real, especially in the live versions on the tour. They really got to explore their vocal ranges, um, their musicality, and It is just such a beautiful song that I cannot help to feel like warm to. It is just such a beautiful song that feels like a hug to themselves and to everyone else, to really share their story and be like, we went through all of this and we found our way and we got, and thanks to that, we are here and you can do it too. It is getting harder and harder and harder. And with number seven, I'm torn. Well, I think number seven is Mean Girls. To say this song is personal to me is an understatement. And I know I'm not a girl, so what the song is about doesn't really apply to me. But I've had some very recent experiences that I had to deal with Mean Girls. It was very difficult for me because it was very hard to separate the good parts of a person to the bad or mean parts. You know, when these people are your friends, I know they are more than just their wrongful actions. They are more than whatever mean things they do. But does that justify it? Does that make it any better? Does that mean I am able to forgive them or to be okay with it? And so, ever since certain events happened in my life, I've been with this exact dilemma, and this song was able to put all those thoughts into one, arriving to probably a very similar conclusion as me, which is, you know what? I low key don't want you in my life because I don't want this energy to drag me down anymore, but I still wish the best for you. It is just such a complicated feeling to be able to feel these two emotions at the same time, the love you have for that person, but also not wanting them to be in your life anymore. Beyond the lyrical content, I also really love the song sonically. It really has this 2016 vibe. I don't know if you remember, but Tropical House was very popular at the time. You know, the Chainsmokers and Kigo had huge hits, and that sound brings me back to that era. I have a lot of nostalgia for it, which is funny because at that time I was pretty miserable. I didn't like life, but now that I look back, I feel nostalgic for it for some reason. I guess things just felt a little less consequential. But anyways, yeah, I really like the sound. I think melodically the song really stays in one lane. Besides the pre-chorus, which goes to a higher range of notes, but every other part of the song really stays in this very comfortable, maybe a little bit low for the girls, which is cute. It is fine, but I really do like when they like go to different places throughout the whole song. And also, how can I not mention the shout out to the trans girls, to the trans women, which is so important right now to really put a light on them. I think that was very powerful and makes me love the song even more. Number six is a fan favorite and a song that I think most people would want the sound of the girls to be moving forward. And that song is MIA. I also think it is the girls' favorite, and for a good reason. It is super girl groupy, if that's even a word. But you know, girl groups are known to be confident, powerful, independent. The melodies, they are so catchy. I love how each girl has their little section. They all stand out. My favorite part has to be the pre-chorus. I won't be like this, no you won't, put Alicia na. It is so addicting. Like I will literally start singing that part in the middle of nowhere. I will be like talking to a friend and suddenly, I won't be like this, no you won't, but it is so catchy. I literally cannot get it out of my head. And also I love the outro so much. It gives me kind of Britney Spears in the song vibes, which is a great compliment, honestly. Number five is a song that you will never make me hate. I'm sure many viewers were already like, isn't he missing one song? No. Our number five is Internet Girl. This song is so fun, and I don't really care if it is silly, if it is cringy. I don't care. It is so much fun. It has this bratty, spoiled princess kind of energy, And I think the girls pull it off perfectly. Now, would I love the baby to not be here? Absolutely. But at this point, I can move on from that. Like, yeah, that baby would have been better if it was the girls' vocals. But it is what it is. I still love the song regardless, and I'm not gonna let a very small amount of time to ruin it for me personally. But it is so fun, and the personality of the girls shines through. And I had to give a shout out to Lara because whenever she sings It's Zucchini, she sounds so seductive. And it has to be my favorite part of the song because the way she sings it, it is like such a rage bait. Like, and something like so sexy, but at the same time, that sexiness not really being about wanting someone to pay attention to you or anything. It's more like a taunt. I just love the song, and I don't care. I honestly think it's super fun, and it's gonna be a staple at their concerts from now on. And honestly, at the show, it was one of the loudest songs from the crowd. Like the crowd went crazy for Internet Girl. Number four is a song that pisses me off because it had the potential to be number one. It is also our last song from Sis, and that is Dutch. They had to put like crack or something in this song because it is so catchy, so addicting. To this day, I'm still not tired of that chorus. It is such a bop. When I first heard this song, I was kind of not the biggest fan because of the first verse where they were basically listing the days of the week, and that to me is kind of a turn off, maybe a little pet peeve, I don't know. Like for example, this song by Jungkook 7, where he's enlisting basically the days of the week in the chorus. I'm just not a fan of that. And you know, that song is so fun and his voice is so amazing, but I just cannot deal with that. And so there was a very similar experience with Dutch and listening the days of the week in the first verse. But you know, with time, I stopped caring and it became one of my favorite songs of 2024 because it is just so addicting, it is so catchy, it is so fun. I will never get tired of it, probably. But my biggest problem with Dutch is that it is so short. I can excuse other short songs like Debut because to me Debut feels like a finished song. It feels complete. You know, it is also very short, but the repeated chorus and the outro that it has at the end makes it feel complete. With Touch, to me, it feels like it could have gone on for another minute. It could have had a bridge. The final chorus could like explode, feel bigger, grander, and you know maybe have some vocal ad-libs at the end as well. But that wasn't the case, and to me, the song just feels incomplete. It feels like it finishes very abruptly. It doesn't feel like it is gonna end with that final chorus. And that is my biggest problem with Touch. It is the missing potential. But you know, despite that, I still love the song so much. The fact that it ranks this high, despite all those problems that I have, just speaks how much I love it. So now we arrive to our top three, and we have a triple feature. Our triple G's: Gnarly, Gabriella, and Game Boy. Uh, it is so hard. This ranking was so hard, and I hate to put this on a number three, but I think number three has to be Gnarly. Now, Gnarly changed lives. It really feels like without Gnarly, my 2025 would have been so different. It was definitely my favorite song of 2025, the one that made the most impact in me. Um, but now that I think about it, I have like so many problems with it, just like Dodge, which is basically just the length. It could have had a bridge, we could have had an outro, and it feels a little bit incomplete as well. Like many other people, I didn't get the song at first. The first time, I thought, I was like, what the hell? What is going on? The performance definitely helped me understand the song, helped me get it. The thing about Gnarly is that it is a disgusting song, but purposefully so. I really feel like this song wants to make you feel uncomfortable, to make you feel disgusted, and it does it perfectly well. Like there's something wrong with this song on purpose. And it is definitely the most interesting song in their discography for sure. And it makes sense that it is the one that really helped them explode in popularity. I really cannot explain why Gnarly is so effective to me, but at the same time that it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable in a good way, it also makes me feel like so confident. And I think that's mostly because of the vocal performance of the girls. I don't know, I just feel so powerful and strong and like I can take on the world whenever I hear this song, and I just cannot help but love it. But yeah, I wish it felt a little bit more complete with a bridge. You know, the dance break maybe helps a little bit, but that's not part of the song, you said. Okay, number two. These two songs, Gabriella and Game Boy, felt a little bit safe. You know, coming off of Gnarly, they felt boring because Gnarly is just so bombastic. It hits you in the face like Junche's hair slaps Lara every performance. And then, you know, Gabriella and Game Boy, I've always thought they were good, but they felt a little boring because of what came before them. However, with time, they have a little bit more of longevity because once the shock value diminishes, not only might not be an everyday listen. It is for me. But with time, I've grown to appreciate Game Boy and Gabriella more, while Gnarly peaked a little bit earlier, if that makes any sense. But I gotta put out number two, Game Boy. This really feels like a little bit more mature version of Touch. I love everything about it, honestly, because it is so infectious. I just cannot help but feel good whenever I listen to it, especially the pre-chorus, you know, when Daniela sings, "Would you keep on pushing my buttons?" It just feels so heartwarming for some reason. I just feel like that melody suits my soul. And you know, whenever I listen to this song, whenever it plays on shuffle and you hear like that, I don't know, I just feel like, oh yes, my song, that's my song. I think like with this top three, my ranking explanations are making no sense because I really cannot put into words what these songs do to me. They are just so fun, so legendary to me, iconic. Like, you know, I do gotta walk Game Boy a little bit because even though I do love it so much, it pisses me off a little bit that the bridge is just the first verse and that the outro is just the first verse again. Hive, ex-Geffen, maybe listen a little bit to the complaints of um, Dodge and debut for being too short. Maybe they thought, oh, well, they want the songs to be longer, but instead of writing a bridge, an actual bridge, they just repeated some sections. Annoys me, but what I can say is that it works. It definitely makes the song feel more complete, even though I would have liked an actual bridge. But overall, this song is such an easy listen. It is those kinds of songs that you cannot help but love. I feel like it is universal. I could never understand if someone doesn't like it. So finally, our number one, Gabriella. Just like I said with Game Boy, this song felt pretty boring the first time that I listened to it because we came off of Gnarly. This was just so cookie cutter perfect ordinary to me. And in some ways, I could still tell you that it is, but with time, it grew on me. The vocal delivery of the girls kept me coming back. But I think what really makes me love the song so much is that bridge. Now that I think about it, is this song the only song in their discography with an actual bridge? Because if we think about it, the only songs with a bridge are My Way, which is the pre-chorus, Game Boy, which is the first verse, and then there's Gabriella. And I actually think it is the only one with a bridge. And you know, as a Swiftie, the bridge is kind of the most important part of a song, apart from the chorus probably. But the thing is, it's just a bridge that can elevate the song to new heights. And the Gabriela bridge definitely does it for me. I don't know if I have some kind of bias because it is in Spanish, but it is just the final little detail on the song that helps it being something special to me. I don't think I would feel the same way if the bridge wasn't here. So, in a way, I can tell you that the song is maybe not very interesting. It is a pop song, a fairly standard pop song. But when you add to that the background of the girls, the background of Daniela, that Spanish bridge, it just ends up being something extremely special that fits the concept of the group perfectly, that fits the intention of the creation of the group in the first place, and that I hope they explore more when it comes to their next projects. Imagine, I think the girls have already said something like this, of having like albums inspired on each of their cultures and backgrounds. But even if it is just a song like Gabriela, that would be perfect. I think that's why it is my favorite, because it combines what makes the girls special. It feels more personal because of it. As a group right now, they don't have any songs that they've written themselves. And the whole concept of KATSEYE is we all come from different places, from different backgrounds. And so putting one of those backgrounds, one of those cultures, even if it is just a little bit, maybe surface level, into one song makes it feel more personal, more special, more KATSEYE. So I think that's why I love this song so much, simply because it feels KATSEYE. It feels like this is KATSEYE. This is the purpose of KATSEYE. And I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do next. So that's my discography ranking for KATSEYE. I really, really love this group so much. They are the first group that I stan since Luna, which were my introduction to K-pop. Contrary to popular opinion, I actually really love Dream Academy. I really love Popstar Academy, the documentary, because I just love seeing the girls working so hard, showing me what is possible when you put effort into something. And to see them, their talents develop, how they grew as persons, how they found themselves as artists, just gave me a newfound purpose, honestly. Not only that, I just really like the girls themselves. They are charismatic, they feel genuine, they feel down to earth, they are funny as hell, they are so talented. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for their newfound success, for what's to come, for their future endeavors. Maybe what I do hope gets to change is the fandom, because it feels like there's always something to complain about or to have discourse about, if it is about the relationships, the music, their ethnicities, anything really, whoever they hang out with. But I think at this point, the girls are ready to move on to everything being not about themselves, and be about the music, about the art, about the group itself. And I am too. I actually really like their discography so far. I enjoy it. As I said, sometimes it really feels like they are going in different directions, like they are trying to find their footing. I think Gabriela is probably the way to go when it comes to concept, exploring their backgrounds, cultures, and putting that into their art itself. That the concept of being a global girl group doesn't end with just the nationalities and the cultures of the members, for it to be part of the music itself. That's on one side, and on the other, songs like Gnarly, MIA, Internet Girl, that feel authentic to the personalities of the girls. And something that I just think it is important to say is that even if you like the girls because of their personalities, their talent, whatever, that doesn't mean you have to like the group, because that group will go on the direction the executives will want it to go. And don't it doesn't matter how much you like the girls, maybe the group won't be for you, and that's okay. You can still like wish the members the best, be like a casual fan, maybe not engage as much. But I think it is important to make the difference, that to be fan of KATSEYE is to be a fan of the music, the direction, the concept. and that is not the same as being fun of the girls themselves. So I think once people really find that difference and that balance, they could like be okay with things not going the way they would prefer. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Give it a like, subscribe, and I hope to see you around for the next few videos. Bye.